You are listening to another AlwaysMoto production. The AlwaysMoto podcast with your host, David Hogan. We talk moto events from around the world. All the injuries, all the training ins and outs, the bikes, parts and gear inspections. The results, we interview your favourite riders. It's the AlwaysMoto podcast. We occasionally have some coarse language and the odd stuff up along the way. If you don't like it or you don't agree with us, turn it off right now.
I'd like to remind you that he is not a doctor.
That's right, Moto fans. Welcome into episode 193 of the AlwaysMoto show. Proudly presented by TechnicMotorsport.com, Duramoose.com.au and Yamaha Moto Australia. I'm your host, David Hogan. Welcome into the AlwaysMoto show. It's another week. We've had another couple of rounds of racing, both in Australia and in America, so we've got plenty to talk about, but we've also got some things to talk about in terms of our catch-up that we pre-recorded with Eddie Karlsson from Stark Future, because that is really cool. If you've seen the little promo of that was ahead of tonight's show, you know that he's going to tell us something really cool later in that interview, so you better stick around and watch that, because I want to know how it turns out. I already know, actually, but anyway, I want to see how it plays out, because who gets chased by 5 cop cars and a helicopter and gets out of it scot-free? Well, I'll have to see how that goes, because I'm sure there's something more to it than I'm just leading on here at this point in the show. But big show tonight, and of course, we've got our co-host, the AlwaysMoto Contractor, is going to join us again, Ben Grinly. We'll get him on in just a second. Let's talk TechnicMotorsport.com, but to kick it off, because they are your suspension specialist in Australia and worldwide pretty much, because they have a website. Duh, everyone has a website, but you can shop on it internationally. You can get a currency converter sorted out on their site. They have international shipping with DHL, and they have everything you can imagine for your suspension needs, whether it's basic parts, seals, bushes, wipers, to A-kit suspensions. They have everything for pretty much every model known to man. So check them out, technicmotorsport.com. Get your suspension sorted. Don't forget to think of all of our other sponsors as well. You hear about them throughout our different shows here. Barkbuster handguards, Funnelweb filters, pivot pegs, Tech 167 3D printing for the show support. We mentioned Duramoose and Yamaha Moto Australia as well. Check out all of them. If you check out the links in the show notes below, we have all their links, all their to get straight to their sites. If we've got a discount code, it's listed there as well. It's on our bio on our socials as well if you're checking out over there. So check out any of them. You can get over to our sponsors, support them to support us. Don't forget, we have our t-shirts available, $25 plus postage and handling. info@alwaysmoto.com. We'll get you one of those. We'll sort that payment out via PayPal. Now, there is donations via PayPal, and the links are in the show notes, but you can join our YouTube community. Again, I'll fix that up. Needed a couple more verification points. Obviously, I didn't finish that off properly when it's kicked off a couple of weeks ago. Sorted that out during the week. So get back in there. Join the AlwaysMoto YouTube community. Help support us here. Little donations every month to keep things ticking over here, which is awesome. So that's it. Let's get into the intro show. Let's bring in the contractor. Here he is, Ben Grinly. Welcome in, mate. How are you?
All right. How we going?
Very well, very well. This is our general talk. It's brought to you by Yamaha Motor Australia and the WR250F. Why don't you join the Blue Crew? Benny, there's been a big week, mate. Obviously, we were coming off the back of our show last week with the Supercross, the main two men. The woman didn't join us, Kelly Bailey. We let her off for it. They sent out the two guys. Pretty impressive interview. We had some pretty impressive feedback afterwards. People loved the show. They're obviously doing the rounds at the moment, trying to spruik the Supercross, but I think it was a good night last week, mate.
Yeah, it was a big show. I was only in for a little bit, and then I watched the rest of it. But, hard for me to come in and try and back up from those boys. But, it's getting exciting, hearing everything they had to say about the Supercross season coming up. A little bit of banter with Elijah as well. So, I think it's going to be really good when the time comes for the season to kick off. And, go racing in stadiums.
Yeah, hopefully they answered a lot of those questions that everyone had burning there from some of the odd announcements that we sort of went through there in terms of that MA bid and the juniors clashing with the AJMX and then the travel and the logistics and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully they covered a lot of it. I think we saw a bit of personality from them, which was great as well. People were able to interact because of the chat with the YouTube. That was cool. We got some questions going live through that as well. But yeah, I think it was good for everybody. I can't wait for the season to get kicked off. It's only a couple of weeks away, right? Like October, whatever, the beginning of October there, we're into it. So yeah, not long now. Everyone will be sort of switching over to Supercross prep. I've seen Heath Fisher's getting himself a Supercross track built in his place in North Queensland there. So he's getting ready to go. I think he must be looking forward to Townsville. Wrong T, Queensland. I think he's up from Townsville. So, he'll be looking to that opening round to show something up there, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, you think about it, it's later on later on in the year. We've got ages yet. And then, next minute you turn around and it's only, 3-4 months away and it's here already. So, got to get that practice in. And, at least he should be acclimatized to the weather, I guess. And he should enjoy that event.
Yeah, well, he definitely should be acclimatized. He lives right there, right? Like, it shouldn't be any easier. But I guess the fact that he's getting that track already built and there's still a couple of weeks left in the motocross season, that thing's going to be ready to go and get punished from basically, beginning of August there all the way through the season. So he's going to have something decent to be riding on, which will be awesome for his practice and his skills. And I dare say we'll see him featuring in that SX3 class when it comes around there. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. So, if anyone had any questions, obviously, about that show, you can still hit us up about it. Obviously, go back and watch it if you haven't seen it already, because it is worth watching to find out more about our Australian series. So check that one out. We will have a couple of more snips of videos that I've got, happening across the next few weeks in the lead up to the series. So I'll put some more of that out over the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for those. Share them around, because that helps get some more interest on our posts and obviously helps feed the whole thing here at AlwaysMoto. So please share anything we have put out there. Benny, let's get into it. We're going to leave this AusProMX stuff for the last part of this one. We're going to kick off with Pro Motocross from Southwick, the AMA stuff. I felt very much FOMO was the word I was looking for there. FOMO, because last year I was there and I really loved Southwick for whatever reason. It's a very unique location, track, vibe. The airport, the hotels are nearby. The smokehouse that we went to, that pretty much all the teams seem to go to. The Friday and the Saturday nights of the event, they were all there. I really wanted to be in Southwick watching it on the weekend, mate. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, it wasn't right. I wasn't there taking photos and stuff. I missed out. I feel like I missed out, Benny.
Oh, you should have booked in. You're going in a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
You should have just made it. You should have
extended it. I should just go the whole season, right?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. People got to buy a lot more T-shirts so you can extend it out.
More T-shirts, yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, on screen, and you hear about it. Everyone talks about it. It's one of the most anticipated races of the year, and especially with the riders that we had racing it. And in the end, it was the racing was really good. So. Definitely one that you wish you should have been at.
I think what made it worse was when that 450 crew lined up and they had Lucas Coonan, they had Van der Moosdijk in there, they had Caroli, Harrop was up there. We obviously had the Lawrences killing it. The top 10 at one point, I'm pretty sure I counted it was 7 European/international riders in that top 10 at that point in the Moto. I don't know if it finished that way in Moto 1, but yeah, it was one of the most stacked rider lineups, and continental stacked, right? From all over the place. Not just an American heavy, race that was important because there was, Carmichael and Stewart or something. This had those international flavors, and damn, it was good to watch. It didn't work out as well as it probably should have. Lucas Coonan, fastest qualifier, but down in first turn of Moto 1, and then had a massive ride going, and then the bike shut off for whatever reason. There's no confirmation on that I've seen so far still, just an unknown issue. And I heard that Lucas said that he wasn't able to comment on it, so don't know what that all means, but damn, he was fast until he wasn't, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'll just throw this little jab in there. I wonder how Saxon feels at home seeing that happen. Same as both bikes that he's not enjoyed.
Well, that bike
done.
and then Cornelius Tondel was out there, and he was one of those ones in that top 10 now that I think about it. He was 10th in Moto 1, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, the Cowie looks pretty good too at the moment with like Marchbanks and Tondel.
Yeah, so it's big crash from Lucas. Not ideal.
That spot of that track is pretty big too. Like it's nothing. Standing next to it, it's huge when you're there in person.
Yeah, and especially when they've got titles to try and win back overseas. It's always the risk when you come over and race these races, and you know that this can happen, but you sort of don't expect it to happen. But when it does like that, not great.
No, and we'll get to Sasha Koonin in a minute because he's just a whole nother level of everything basically. But yeah, Lucas was impressive. I wish he would have lined up in Moto 2 and not gone down, because I would love to see if he was running with Jet and Hunter, or if in fact they were just another step above. But yeah, it would have been cool to see that. But anyway, we'll have to save that for maybe next year if they do come over full time. I'll have to see how that all plays out. We believe that that's already done to some degree with KTM, but nothing's been announced obviously, so I'm sure they're waiting on whether those world titles come off or not before everything's super duper locked in stone and announced anywhere. But in terms of the rest of the race, I got to say I was a little disappointed in Jorge Prado. His comments last year when he was on the Cowie and he was running around 4th, 5th, saying that with a different bike he'd probably win that race. Well, he had a different bike this time, Benny. He didn't win the race, and he wasn't close to winning the race either.
No, and just quickly going back to Supercross, he did a lot better in Supercross. I'll give him that.
He was awesome in Supercross.
But these outdoor results just, Parla, I thought, oh dear, like here we go. But from then on, it just sort of hasn't really been a spark there to where I thought it probably would go to.
You wonder how much that is the MXGP KTM bike being completely unique to some degree, like and able to change frames for things like sand races and stuff, and they have longer frames and stuff. Whether it's the motor is super different, I don't know. Maybe there's something different about the way the bike's set up here that he hasn't completely gelled with. Is it just still the fact that he's actually still learning all of these tracks? Or like we talked about this on the show, I think it was last week. We were mentioning about his fitness and just potentially not being as fit, or thinking that he's not as he thinks he's fit, but he's not as fit as he quite needs to be for this setup. I don't know. He looked all right towards the end of those motors because he was pressing Deegan there at the end of Moto 2. So maybe that wasn't the case. But I feel like if he doesn't get the start, his motivation to come and battle to that point doesn't seem to be there for some reason. Maybe it's coming around, but he has been very much used to just whole shotting and winning over in Europe, and that's not happening here.
Yeah, and you got to think he was probably looking, over at Lucas and Sasha and just going like, this should be me. Like, this is what I said I could do, and you're out here doing what I said I could do, and I can't do it. So it's, there probably would have been a few little, mind games going on as well.
Something's off there, right? So I just don't know what it is yet. Obviously, he's probably still working it out, figuring it out, but something's off. If he figures it out, he could be dangerous. But for the moment, he is a significant step back from those lead two in terms of Jet and Hunter. So, yeah. But yeah, Jet and Hunter. If Jet doesn't go down in Moto 1, I think he wins. If Hunter doesn't go down in Moto 2, I'm not certain that he would win, but I dare say it was a hell of a lot more close battle than what it ended up being. Those two are just outdoing each other at the moment, it seems. obviously Jet's still a little bit hampered, and Hunter's probably at the top of his game right now. But damn, it's impressive to watch the two of them riding lately.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see Jet back. So we've got both of them to cheer on. And I think the little foot peg adjustment that they made for him added that little bit on. Obviously,
little bit. That thing was this freaking long. It seems. It's a whole nother peg turned the sideways and joined on.
It helped him a bit, but just these silly mistakes from the both of them are, just not not ideal. This I suppose one of them has a red plate, so as long as one of them has a red plate, I'm sure they're happy, but each other would probably like it. But I think there's they maybe just need to turn it down a little bit. I think they've got Deegan and everyone else covered. It's just really between those two.
Yeah, you make an interesting point, because I think they're both pushing each other beyond what they're capable of going without having these little mistakes at the moment. And they've gapped the points-wise on the field, so they're okay for still being 1-2 in terms of championship, even with those little mistakes. But it's an interesting battle coming here, because the two of them aren't really going to lose many points to each other, I don't think, over the remaining, what do we got, 5, what are we at, round 5, 6 to go. So it's going to be interesting. Like Millville this week, Hunter's actually really good at. He got a moto win over Jet last year. So, there's potential for that. So with Jet actually grabbing that points lead back after Southwick, I think that was helpful for him to stay in the title hunt, because I feel like Hunter could go 1-1 this weekend and actually put a little gap on him. And if he was already in front of him, that gap might have actually got to the point where it was almost, I know it's early, but become somewhat unassailable with a 1-2 finishing point all the time, and potentially 1-2, 2-1ing it the rest of the way. That could really hurt them actually trying to, Jet trying to gain back on Hunter. So I think that was actually really helpful for Jet to actually get the little bump there, with Hunter finishing 4th in Moto 2 after that tip over. So Hunter might rue that little mistake there for multiple reasons. One, he doesn't get the race win bonus, and he dropped down a bit in the points. But the championship picture might hurt there as well. Yeah,
and probably just a little bit of a self-embarrassment of hitting neutral and going over the bars. And
this is my favourite line from the commentary. Hitting neutral is the motocross equivalent of walking into a glass door. It's stupid and it's embarrassing, but it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
So
there's you got a little bit of self-pride that's gone down the drain there a little bit, and I'm sure that'll fire him up. And knowing that he's good at Millville, I'm sure he'll come in swinging, and both of those two will be up there banging bars again for first and second.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it goes. The funny one that I want to bring up of the weekend, but the video that's been circulating, and I don't actually know who it originated with. I think it might have been Vital. It might have been Whiskey Throttle. I'm not sure. I apologize. I should have looked that one up, actually. But the video of Jet sitting on the start line next to Deegan and them chirping at each other, and then somebody's obviously listened in, created a caption, and the whole, stop whinging, you've got an excuse. What's your excuse, Deegan? You don't need one. Well, I think you should come up with one, was Jet's line back to him, because, we're kicking your ass and I've got an excuse, That, for me, Jet's response there about, I think you should come up with one, because it don't look so good for you, bro. That's so just off the cuff, and he probably thought to himself afterwards, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But the fact it got captured on a video as well and could be audibly heard, you can see Christian, his mechanic, giggling to himself I'll burn. But man, interesting scenario, right?
Just a quick typical Aussie response.
Just off the cuff, boom.
Smart ass comment. And he's, they've sort of kept quiet. They haven't really tried to engage in much of, the mind games and stuff that Deegan's been trying to play. But I think it's getting to a point now where they've come in, the season started, they're well and truly in front of him, and they can actually say something because they know that he's still, a little bit off them. I think that's why they're probably starting to play into it.
Yeah, I was going to say like that exact point about like that he's a little off them. Even the only times that he's beaten them is they've crashed, and that one at Redbud is what everybody's going to hang on to. That Jet was trying to get around Deegan and crashed, but he was trying to get around him because he was a roadblock to him getting to the win at that point. All right, not because of him being potential win. He was in the way for him getting to Prado and that who were in front, and they were getting away. So there's a little bit of context difference there, but otherwise he's been nowhere near him unless he was cheating at Thunder Valley, right, with that little line that he had at the top of the hill. So it's an interesting situation. I think they're getting to the point where they can lean into it for the moment. Things might change into Supercross or into outdoors next year as he obviously Deegan develops more and finds more speed and finds more comfort with the 450. But for the moment, yeah, he doesn't have it. They can, what he's done to others, they can basically do to him at the moment. I did see one other funny thing too. My wife brought it up, Jen. She saw somebody shared something about that Deegan had broken another record in that he'd lost his first... the amount of losses he has now equals the same amount of losses that Jet has in the 450 class, as in 5, whatever it was. So, yeah. Interesting point of view, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of comments, Facebook, Instagram, X. There's just some of the rubbish you see and some of the stuff that people type just make your face palm because they've just got no idea. They're just either Deegan lovers or we all love Jet and Hunter, but even some of the Jet and Hunter fans are way out there as well. But they're fighting back, and it's all this online trolling and whatever. But yeah, some of the stuff you say on there is good, and then some of it is just it's horrible.
Yeah. Well, and then from that opposite side of things, right, the actual positive side of the record books, I saw a post from Verb this week, and I think it's been talked about on the coverage as well, but Jet hitting 27 450 wins in the outdoors equaled him to be I think it's 4th or 5th on the all-time list now, and he's actually only, he's 27 wins. Eli Tomac is 32 wins, and they said, if Jet wins out, he equaled or went past that Tomac level, which then I think that then put him into 4th. So I think he's 5th at the moment. So just incredible that he's at that point already. And Eli's done how many seasons in the 450s? Jet's done, he's basically done 2 now. 1 full one half one, and he's halfway through his next one, right? And if he gets to the end of it, he'll have 2.5 seasons and already got that many wins. It's just insane. The other part of that too is that if he has a season, if he does win out or does win the majority of the rest of these ones, and then has another season like this next year, he basically will go past the rest of the guys on that list up to Carmichael's point, which Carmichael is quite a few steps above that, obviously. I think he was in the 70s. But I think Dungey was second with 39. So, another season like this next year, and Jet basically goes to number 2 on that list. That's insane at this point of basically having 3.5 seasons under his belt. Just nuts.
Yeah, and I suppose when you go 22-0, that makes a big difference. That's a lot of the wins right there.
Yeah, so the Moto wins, I think he's getting up there, but this is the overall wins, right? So Jesus, it's insane. It's insane. You can't. When you start hearing some of those things, it makes a hell of a lot of sense that he's really good. Even with the issues he's had last year, coming back with the ACL, the year before that. I'm missing a year, I think, actually. He's got 2.5 seasons. He's working on 3 at the moment. Or he's 3 seasons. He's working on 3.5. I'm missing a year there because he's got the one on the 22-0. He's got the one last year where he came back from the ACL and got the championship. So they're 2 full seasons, but there was that half one in the middle there that he gave up to Sexton. So, but yeah, still, even saying that, correcting it all, just nuts what he's worked through and the way that he wins with these injuries and stuff too. So just... yeah, impressive. Seriously impressive. You got nothing, have you?
No, I just...
blown away by the sheer numbers at that point.
Yeah, it's just, When you really start to think about it, it's crazy.
Yeah. All right, I'll give you another number. The 250s. The 250 class is an interesting one. Let's start with the absolute send mode that Sasha Coonan put on in Moto 1. That save that he made at the bottom of one of those corners, he gave himself freaking whiplash, dude. He whiplashed the crap out of himself. He almost face kissed the front guard. He almost pulled off a freestyle move in the middle of giving himself whiplash in the opening lap of a moto.
I think he nearly crashed about 6 times within the first few corners. Like, it was, just I think there was only one speed and one speed only.
When you look at that dude with his helmet off, but I gotta say, he looks like a dude that's just going to go for it. There's nothing else between the ears. He's just going to give it everything he can because I feel like that's all he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And usually that's, most of them until they have a big one and then they realize that, okay, there is a level there where, but then he comes off, he hurts himself and then keeps riding and wins. So
how many big ones has he had, but? It's not slowing the dude down.
Nah, I don't know.
Anyway, like that, we'll get to the crash and the injury. We'll talk about that in the emergency department. But, geez Louise, that whiplash that he gave himself on that lap 1 in Moto 1, I was like losing my shit at that point. Like just going, he's whiplashed himself. He's given himself whiplash. It was, go back and watch it. Watch his head, face kisses the guard. It's insane. But he somehow stayed on the bike. He won by over 30 seconds. Seriously impressive. Second moto, crashes, does what he does, gets up, still holds on to it, still wins by like 10 or 15 seconds, whatever it ended up being there at the end. Just nuts. And that was after he had 2 or 3 runs at Cole Davies after getting caught up and almost going down, in the middle of the moto. So just speed of another level. If we remove him for a moment from the AMA talk, we're down to Cole Davies and Levi Kitchen because unfortunately we lost Joe Shimoda. We'll cover him again in a minute. But Kitchen is slowly coming back around, but Davies is actually going trajectory the right way. They keep talking about him not dealing with the heat. They keep talking about him not knowing any of these tracks. He's going to start getting to some that he knows here shortly because he's been to Unadilla, Buds, Ironman. So he's going to be all right for those last 3. The heat-wise is a possibility, but if he keeps getting the starts like he's getting, he can manage things much better there in second moto. And if he keeps doing Moto 1s the way he's doing, where he's just running away and basically winning, I don't see Levi getting as good a starts consistently to outdo him.
Yeah, well, we said, I think it was last week that he needed to turn it around to start clawing back, which, going second wasn't too bad. Cole, fell off, hit the ground as well during one of the motos. Caden Manier got him on the last lap of that first moto, which doesn't help Cole's case.
Yeah. Nice one from Caden, by the way, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's... Yeah, I think it's just going to come down to a mistake thing. If you make a mistake and you let one by, one or the other goes by, I think that's how the title's going to end up. It's just who makes the least mistakes.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I feel like Cole's just working into this. And despite the fact that nobody probably, well, I won't say nobody, but like he shouldn't have been a title pick coming into this season because of the lack of knowledge and the lack of previous results in the column for him. But damn, he's obviously proven everybody wrong at the moment. He's riding super well. It's super impressive. And it's just like a few things have fallen into place. And that old saying about when it's your year, it's your year. It seems to be going in that direction that it's his year. So let's see if it keeps playing that way. Because we are losing a bunch of people here out of this series from injuries, it seems, recently. Will he be able to keep it together? Let's hope so. But yeah, you touched on Caden Manier. Dude was solid. Rode around a bunch of people in Moto 2 there. He should love the sand. He's a WA guy. Should be pretty comfortable. He said that in multiple interviews as well. So he rode like he meant it. Happy to see him getting towards the pointy end of the field, right?
Yeah, I think just more time in the class and, believing that he can run that sort of pace as well will help.
He's got to
will
work
help.
out his starts. I feel like he's not that good on the starts.
Yeah, they seem to let him down, and a few silly mistakes here and there as well. Like he has made, a few errors and come off a few times when he's been in a position. But yeah, definitely improving.
Yeah, no, awesome to see. Love to see another Aussie just get up there and, wave the flag and show some personality too, because the kid's got plenty of personality. His interviews that he's done on the podium have been next level. So he's obviously going to start winning a few people over, fan base wise over there as well if he keeps that sort of stuff up. So, yeah, good for Caden. Looking forward to catching up with him when I get over there in a couple of weeks' time too, to see him at the races and basically say, "What's up, mate? G'day," because he's a good chat. He's a good kid. Happy to see him doing well. All right. Anything else from the AMA side of things, Benny, or we move into the Aussie stuff?
I was going to say it for the diatribe, but I'll just say it now.
Come on. Yep, go on.
Probably better self-report myself.
Self-report. Well, what have we done?
But I did say the other day that AMA had done a good job to get Joe, Cole, and Kenny over here.
Yeah,
and we may have just jinxed that a little bit with an injury to Joe now, and we did talk about this, so just self-reporting that might be my fault.
Look, you don't have nothing to blame. That little rut that caught Joe out in the qualifying, that's going to happen. But I dare say that injury is going to be repaired and recovered in time. So that one's okay. But if anything else happens, like I said, there's such a big window from when they probably sign these deals in like March, April, to when they actually turn up here in October, November, whenever the dates fall each year. There's a lot of racing they do that they can stuff this up. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he holds up on his end of the deal and he's A-okay by that point. So we'll see. But yeah, you make a good point. Self-reporting. I might have put the mockers on him. Just a bit. All right, let's switch gears. Let's switch back to the Australian side of things. I'll have to ring my dad back later. He's just calling me in the middle of the show.
Is it just me, or is it you as well, that as soon as you get on here,
dude,
the phone just goes ding, 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 ding?
Yeah,
Any other night, I can just sit here and it won't go off.
Yep, not a problem. Absolutely not a problem any other time. But as soon as this on, even last week when I was doing the thing, Jen knew that I was doing it, the wife, called right in the middle of it. Like, seriously. Anyway, it's how it seems to go. But
that's bad. Jen should have been watching. That's bad.
Well, she was in Queensland doing other stuff, so I'll let her off on that one. So she did probably forget from that. But anyway, AusProMX, Terragalon was run on the weekend, round 6. We've only got 2 left, Benny. This season, as long as it's been dragged out over the gaps between rounds, it's actually getting to the pointy end of the business here. It seems to be fairly quickly, right? So round 6, can we finally say, it's only taken 6 rounds, but can we finally say that we had a track prep that we could actually be happy with?
I think you probably can.
Well, it was amazing. You turn on the coverage and there wasn't, a puddle across the screen, basically. I didn't know what to do. I thought I tuned into the wrong channel.
Yeah.
That might be a bit harsh, but anyway.
I think they did have some rain beforehand. I think one of the boys in the group chat said that they had rain the day before or a few days before. And then I think it's sprinkled throughout the race. But, definitely wasn't apping mud, that's for sure. And a few of the other tracks that we've had, it would look good. It
actually looked like it developed into it as well. Like as the day went on, I know they had a couple of little tiny showers that sort of got a couple of cameras, some spots, but it didn't look like anything dramatic. Yes, the end of it started looking like it was getting that way for that final moto for the MX1s. But yeah, it looked like the track just developed in a really nice way. Obviously, it got rough, and that's what I mean by nice way, because the track wasn't muddy or anything, and it developed just by natural racing and use that should come from a national being run on it. So, yeah, I think it was actually good work, right? Like, the only thing I'm going to call them on is they couldn't have changed the weather dial, turn the volume, the climate control up a bit. It looked really warm down there.
Yeah, there was a lot of people wearing jackets and jumpers and beanies, and the wind, and our team manager interviews were great.
How was
And
Dakar? It's dead set. He looked like the jacket was up around his chin, and gloves. He had like snow gloves on that he'd be proud of if he was at Jindabyne. But Jesus, it looked warm.
yeah, that's you're at Appen a month ago now, and it was like that in the morning, and then it was hot during the middle of the day, and
Shorts and
then
t-shirt. Yeah.
then cooled right down in the afternoon, whereas that just looked cold all day.
I never get this, and I don't know if I brought this up before, but I never understood why in any of the Australian rounds of any championship that ever seems to go on, we start in like Queensland in the summer times, and then we end up in a Victorian round in the middle of winter. Why can't we ever flip those things around when we should go north when it's cold and south when it's warm? Like, I never get that. We always seem to end up in Victoria in the middle of winter, freezing our what's off.
That's probably a question for the higher ups. That's a bit out of my pay grade.
Surely they know the weather climates that go on in this country as well. But anyway, it seems to have been happening for years. It's not the first time I've mentioned this, maybe on the show, but I've mentioned it plenty of places before that. So anyway, let's get to the racing. MX1. This thing's over, right? Beaton is just got this done.
Yeah, he didn't even really look too fussed when when he wasn't in first. And then he sort of just got gifted first, I think, in that first Moto, and Webster came off. Didn't really seem to be pushing or too worried about, getting in front. And then, same with, I think, Tanti got in front and fell off in the same spot and just rode past and rode it out. So
you feel like he was just stalking him, right? Like he was just sitting there waiting for that either mistake or the fact that he probably figured he'd get him right near the end, like just fitness. Yeah. He wasn't going to slow down sort of thing, right?
Yeah, he's on another level at the moment. I don't think he was too worried, but it's not a good look for, and we don't know how hurt Webster was from, Appen and whatnot, but it's not ideal for him to be crashing again.
Well, we'll get to that in a sec. I'm just going to bring up a point like you touched on about the beaten bit. The only thing that stopped him last year was the broken femur that he had in practice, right? Like in a practice crash. But the way that the commentary team was portraying it on the weekend, they didn't actually say that it happened that it was an injury, that it happened in a practice crash. They were saying it like he lost the championship. Like if you go back and listen to it, I can't remember the exact wording or whether it was Denny or Lee that said it, but they were basically alluding in a way that he lost last year's championship based on his inability to close it out. They weren't giving the whole information, which I thought was misleading and kind of negative to Jed Beaton. The only reason Jed probably lost last year's championship was that practice crash, right? Like if you take that out, he probably wins that because he had them handedly covered when they left round 5 last year in terms of speed, points, fitness, all that sort of stuff. It was all going the right direction. So unless something like that happens again, he's got this because he is 64 points, I think it is, up on Webster at the moment. If he just, basically rides around there like he can, gets 3rd or 4th in Moto 1 on the weekend, he's pretty much covered, right?
Yeah, and I was yelling at the TV because you're right. They just said that was when, he did well there, and then it all came undone. Well, it all came undone at home on the practice track where he broke his leg or femur, whatever it was.
Not because he choked or whatever and he gave up points and rode bad or anything at the final rounds, was it? Like it didn't. They were saying it in such a way that just it gave me the shits, right?
Yeah. One thing I'll add though, I think you and your New South Wales state title crew need to show them how to do a preview lap because can't say they're the greatest.
I've watched a couple and I've been trying to reserve my comments on those because they're not fantastic, and I really think that if the best way to commentate on one of those things is to do it while you're riding, you need to check yourself because that's not great. You're not
I
giving
think
any decent info. You sound like you're breathing through a straw. Like, oh, it's not good.
I think Danny Ham went flying off the track and nearly I think it's good. The state title ones, you do a bit of the track, then you go stand in the corner, you talk about it, then you do a bit more of the track. Like, that's good. But theirs is just like a bit of a game and a quick film, and we've done it. Not to mention we had to watch it twice in half an hour, may I add.
Yeah, that's not cool either. Like, we've seen it once. That's good enough, right? Like, the other part, well, not on the track preview bits. Like, yeah, I think they could do them better. I try and do them as good as I can with the equipment that I've got on hand. Like, we don't have everything set up at those points. We're obviously on a very low budget setup, and I feel like we do an all right job. So I'm glad you noticed and pointed that out, and I didn't prop you up for that, but you can collect the payment later on. Thank you. But no, seriously, I appreciate you making that comment. But the other part that got me, and it drives me nuts, because when I do the commentating for the state titles, I've got my book, I've got results, from the previous rounds, I've got the championship tables, and I've got the riders list, so that every rider in that class, and there's a shit ton of classes, right? Like, we're talking, I don't know, 10 classes a day through all the different age groups, bike sizes. I've got all of it for every single one, right? These guys are commentated on 3 classes, maybe 4 if the women's, or there's the 65s or something there, right? But when a rider goes down and it's a 2-digit number and it's crashed on the screen, and they go, oh, I'll just pull a number out here, number 20's crashed, and they can't give you that rider's name, for me, that's a bad look.
Yep. And I think that was the number that went down.
I'm pretty sure it was, because I'm pretty sure that's the first one that was burnt in my brain. And I was like screaming at him, like, you don't know who that is, guys? Because you could hear them like look at each other. You could hear it. You could physically hear the next turn look at each other and go, do you know who that is? Because I don't. And I'm like, oh, guys, you don't even have a riders list in front of you. Get some prep done, boys.
Yeah, it's not a good look. But that's how they want to do it. That's how they want to do it. But yeah, from my eyes and my point of view, I think it needs to be stepped up a little bit and probably done a little bit more. A little bit better. Yeah, look, we've gone off in the weeds because we got sidetracked by the beaten comments. But look, if we go back to Jed's riding is phenomenal. His bike control is phenomenal. He's putting himself in good positions at the moment off the starts, not always whole shots or anything, because he's not known for that. Webster is, but he's up there in the pointing part of it and able to pick off those 2 or 3 guys to get himself into that position quickly that he needs to be at the very front or second. And he's just calm, right? Like, there's just a calmness. He obviously knows that he's fit. He knows that he's fast. And he's not worried about whatever's on the track. He's just going to probably outdo them in the end. So, look, like I said, he can really cruise Moto 1, 2 next time out if he wants to, and just can secure the championship, and then probably turn up to QMP the final round and just obliterate him if he wants to. Yeah, that's true. And maybe not a lot of listeners know, but you actually rode his bike last year. Yeah, last year. Is it what you would expect from him? Like, it might be a little bit different this year, but like, does it, what it looks like on track, is that what it feels like? Yeah. Basically. What you see it doing, and like, there's no sort of out of control, you don't hear massive revs or anything out of it. It's just beefy power all the way through, and it's just a planted feel. The only janky thing with that bike is his clutch position. It dead set, and for the listeners that are on the podcast, aren't going to be able to see this, but my hand position, if I get it in the right spot, I'm dead set holding the clutch lever up like this. It's pointed to the moon, and you cannot keep your finger on it and ride, because it will dead set. You hit a bump, you'll snap your finger. It's that high up in the air. But he somehow likes it there. He must have like some weirdo lax ligament in that finger, because it's bent all the way up. But I stalled it handful of times trying to get in the corner because I couldn't get my finger on the clutch and pull down to pull it in. It was in such a janky position. But other than that, I thought the bike from I'm an okay racer. I'm not a great racer, but I thought it was, from an okay racer point of view, it was pretty much ticking all the boxes. Some of the guys that weren't at that level
thought it was a bit much for them power-wise. I honestly didn't think that. I thought it rolled on beautifully. So he's got an awesome platform. Did you hear on the interview too? He hasn't basically changed the clicker all season. So that tells you something, that he's set up really well. And I dare say that's the same thing that he's got from last year through to this year, or very, very close.
Yeah.
Stability, right? Same team, same bike, keeps rolling it out. He's going to do the same thing next year. I bet you that bike is barely different, you know. And that's the only changes this year from last year would be that they've got the hydraulic clutch on them. They've got a different airbox, but I believe they changed the airbox back from the stock ones back to the last year's ones because they still fit and they had a better opening that didn't need the noise restrictions this year yet. They will next year. So there might be a little bit of power changing that they've got to figure out. But yeah, that bike is sweet. I actually should be able to, if all goes to plan, be riding it again here in a couple of weeks' time after QMP with our Yamaha introduction that's coming up for the new YZ250. So I'll be looking forward to that, and I can tell you all about it then again as well. So that'll be really cool.
Yeah, and like you said, it must be the continuity. Tanti's starting to show something too on that bike.
I was going to get to him. He's coming around, eh?
Yeah, so it's, they're probably working off each other a little bit. And, obviously Tanti having a horrible run with injuries the last few years. We said he just needed to have a good season this season and stay on the bike. Well, he's doing that and it's showing. And, yeah, the team have obviously got the bike pretty good.
Yeah, yes. That's one thing that Yamaha and CDR and with their KYB connections, they can definitely set up a bike. They are one of, they're one of 3 teams to get those KYB components in the world. Nobody else can get them. So they've got some special gear on there. So that helps too. But yeah, Aaron Tanti, leading Moto 2, possibly could have won that because he wasn't looking out of sorts until he did, and literally I think that jump, that would have been so easy to do, right? Like it's just a downhill drop off on an angle around the corner. He just got a couple of mil to one way with the bike takeoff and just jumped off the track by mistake. It's such an easy error to make in that area of the track. But he had a cool dismount.
Yeah, it was very graceful.
Anytime you can land on your feet and run it out, you got to think that's going to look good, right? Like I've seen Jet do that a few times actually too. So yeah, he's done that. Luckily, got up, didn't have to get up or anything. He was already up, ran back, picked the bike up, got going. But yeah, he'd be kicking himself because he probably threw away second overall. Yeah.
And anytime that, you don't hit the ground with, any other part of your body where there's potential to break something else is, you're not going to complain.
No, so he's been riding really well. I feel like these next 2 rounds for Aaron, he could be, a podium, even a win potential here, depending on what Jed Beaton decides to do that day in terms of whether, like I suggested, he just rides it in for the championship at the next round or not. So keep an eye on Aaron Tanti. He's coming in the good form, and if he keeps himself healthy through these next 2 rounds, Supercross, Benny. Tanti was really good, what was it, 3 years ago in 23, wasn't it, when he was in the points lead and then he had that crash in Newcastle that sort of put him out there. But he was a championship contender. He was a race winner. He could be that man again, come October in Australian Supercross.
Yeah, and like you said, again, the continuity, the no injuries, it'll be good to have another Aussie that is good at Supercross and could battle with, Clout and whoever comes over from overseas. It might not just be Clout batting on his own.
No, I think it's going to be a good one for Tanti. So let's see. Hope that he gets to that point and, can put in a showing that's worth what he is all about. Let's talk Webster. You mentioned about how he was obviously coming off Appen. By the sounds of it, the shoulder's okay, that he dislocated when he was in Hangtown. But the groin seemed to be more of the issue. But it was recovered enough. But some of those crashes, I think, were potentially groin related, Benny. Just having a sneeze off the side of the mic here.
I was waiting. I could see something was going to happen.
It's happening. It was just coming for a while there. But anyway, yeah, so Webster, I think some of those crashes were because of that groin.
Yeah, it's quite possible, though. He crashed in the same spot Tanty did, and the back sort of slid out a little bit. Whether he couldn't hold on, he probably hit the same line lap after lap. But, they do change a little bit here and there. But I'd say, it was probably a little bit to hold on, a little hard to hold on. And then the other one was just very out of character as well. So I'm not sure.
Well, that one where he's going up past the mechanics area and you could see him sort of already off balance. He dabbed that left foot and then he really bent, tucked the front and it bit and flipped him over. That was a nasty get off. That would have hurt. That was quick too. That area of the track was quick. So not good for him. His result obviously suffered. He's now really close to that battle they're only a couple of points apart between Webster and Tanty for second in the championship. It was an uncharacteristic day, but I feel like this whole season for Webster, there's been a few of those crashes, not just now that we're talking about post injuries and stuff that he's been working through, but all season he's had some of these little things going on that I don't know whether it's because he's trying to push the pace of Beaton or if he just needs to work on a couple of technique things or something again, or set up things, before 27 rolls around, because he might, if Beaton's obviously figuring this one out, right? If he figures it out how to do it this year, he might go on a run here for a few seasons with CDR and that Yamaha machine with Beaton. So, yeah, Webster better figure some stuff out here.
Yeah, I mean, even last year there was a few crashes here and there, which, had sort of got him behind in points until the Beaton crash. And now it's, it seems like they've sort of just carried over a bit. Obviously he did well at Nations, but yeah, it's sort of just carried over a little bit with, crashing again and a few injuries here and there.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll keep an eye on him. Nathan Crawford, we've got to bring it up. First race on the HRC Honda Racing Australia machine. Was it good? Was it bad? He was emotional with the result of second overall. Was it any better than he would have done on the Moto Coach Elite Honda? I don't know.
I think it would have been the same, to be honest. He's been riding well on that, on the Moto Coach Honda. So for me, I think he could have done the same thing. We saw it happen. He wasn't too bad. Queensland wasn't too bad, but I think, a few extra, resources here and there probably helped, and a few like Tanty crash and a Webster crash. But I think it would have been very similar on the other bike still.
I think what you just said is absolutely right. The result potentially would have been the same. I think what backs this up is that maybe the resources are what makes that result repeatable and then build upon repeatable, maybe next round, the round after. And then if he keeps this through Supercross, right? So, yeah, I don't know if it would have been any massively different for Teraugalon, but for the fact that he can ride again to the day after, he's already been videos out, he's still in Victoria, still riding and testing and doing everything. It's going to build on that repeatability because of the resources, because of the training aspects, because of that truck that they've got, all that, hospitality, the comfort. Unfortunately, the motor coach guys don't have a big truck, don't have a hospitality area, don't have somebody probably preparing that sort of quality meals and cooking it all for him on race day and the warm-up gear and stuff. So there's probably just some niceties that go along with it. And same thing if there's a mud race, the resources that your Eves Honda team has is probably just a little better at getting the bike repaired, redone, ready to go again. So those things are probably what makes it, like I said, repeatable is more the term. I don't think it would be, in an individual sense, it was a better result.
Yeah, and you probably won't really notice, I guess. You got the next two rounds coming up. Like we said, Beaton's out in front, probably not going to push it if he doesn't have to. So if Crawford Crawford was to get out front and just take off, and if it's to a point where, Beaton doesn't want to get to that point, and just mail it in, then he could snatch a win here or there. But it probably wouldn't be till everyone's on a level playing field in Supercross or ProMX next year that you actually see how that has panned out.
Yeah, and if he does, the question will be how does you refit all these guys with Nathan onto that tent for further into Supercross and 2027. Webster, Wilson, Todd, they've already got a cast of thousands in the 250s and the MX SX3 classes. Yeah, fitting this in is the budgetary problem I think Uribe has. He probably wants to keep him. It's just, budget-wise, can he do it? We'll find that part out. All right. MX2, Benny. Alex Larwood. I think, given that last moto there, and they were talking about it on the coverage, this was a good part of their commentary. They're talking about the potential swing in points here and who would be closer and further away in terms of Alex Larwood and Cade Kingsford. And if Cade had got that moto win, it would have been back to a 10-point lead that Alex had. But with Alex getting that win, it went out to a 16-point lead. And I agree with him here. I think that 16 points is a very manageable thing through the final 2 rounds here for Alex Larwood, short of a big mistake or a bike malfunction.
Yeah, we saw in Toowoomba it can happen. Larwood did have that, little mishap, so it can happen. But it's going to take, something big and Cade to ride really well, for it to be a big swing back the other way.
Well, I don't see Cade doing anything other than a first, second, or a third for these final 2 rounds. He's riding really well. Off the back of that Redbud, combine thing there for the Super Motocross Next program, he's good. Cade's good. You can also see too that he's a bit pissed at the results. Not necessarily saying that, but like the facial expressions tell you that he's unhappy with the result, that he wasn't able to get Alex in some of these circumstances. So he's working hard at the moment and he's trying to outdo him. So like I said, I don't think he's going to be worse than first, second, or third. It's just whether Larwood is in those and has maybe 1 or 2 that are worse than that, but based on pressure once the championship sinks in that it's possible for him.
Yeah, and I think that's the only thing that can, the pressure comes into it. I think that's the only thing that can, unless you have a bad start, which he hasn't really had a lot of, I think that's the only thing that can, bring the pressure.
Yeah, no, definitely. So we'll have to keep an eye on that battle. It's going to be the one that rages to the end. Curious to see, I'm mentioning Kingsford, Ryder Kingsford. Not sure what happened in that Moto 2 just yet for him and where he's at. I've reached out to him, no response. So as soon as we find something out there, we'll pass that along. But yeah, hoping he's okay. MX3. Let's move straight into MX3 because this class is just insane. The results are like a flaming yo-yo. You don't know what they're going to be. We got our 6th different winner in 6 rounds, and yet again, it was another 1-1 for the winner. So when they win, they dominate. Seth Morrow, killer job in Terraglon. Rode like he owned the joint. Job Dunn was very good as well for a youngster. He's going to be one to watch soon. Him and, unfortunately, Seth Thomas was starting to get there as well, but he had an issue there in Moto 2 on the start, so barely got a result in. But yeah, there's some young kids coming through that MX3 class that are looking good. But yeah, Seth Morrow got it done. But everybody else, geez, they have a good race and then they seem to just disappear into the results sheet again. I don't know what the go is. The one man that seems to stay at the top, but he hasn't been doing really well recently, Hayden Draper, still holds on to that red plate, but he's going to have to figure it out here in these final 2 rounds because his results in the last at least 2 rounds that I can think of off the top of my head have not been championship material here through the if he repeats those, he will not be your champion through these final 2 rounds if he does those results again. So he's going to have to figure it out, the young Kiwi.
Yeah, and we've been talking about, the whole season. It's probably been the best racing out of any class.
Oh, by far.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
By far. So, any one, as you can see, like we've just had the 6 different winner, any one of them can win, and they're all showing it. And good luck picking who it is.
Well, and I said too, I thought there was going to be 6, but I thought there was going to be one from Riley Burgess coming here at some point. But unfortunately, Riley had a bike issue, it seems, in Moto 2 down there. So he's still a potential to make it 7 different winners at some point. And he's still running, I think he's 3rd or 4th in the championship as well. Unfortunately, he's dropped a little few points off the lead 2 there from that second Moto DNF. But, man, pull a name out between Devison, who was back into the mix this weekend, was good to see. Draper, Fisher, Fuller, Downey, Burgess, Morrow. We could have had Dunn in that list as well if he had held it together. Maybe now he's done that, he'll be the next one to get one. There's just people coming everywhere for this, front of the pack. It's insane.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, good luck picking. Good luck picking who wins, because you just never know.
If somebody can stand up in these next 2 rounds and get 4 solid motos, and by that I mean probably 3rd, 2nd, or 1st in the remaining 4 motos, they don't have to necessarily win each of the overalls, but they might be the one that gets this done at the end when it's all said and done in terms of championship, because the results are going to be a yo-yo for the rest of it, I still think. But somebody's going to step up and grab a hold of this thing. I just don't know who it is.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I can't wait to watch Supercross for this, guys. Because it's going to be something else as well.
Well, the other part of that too is they're all very very good in terms of their pace. But I reckon these young guys are all going to just bang bars as well. They're going to block past the crap out of each other to try and get these results. So, yeah, it could be really interesting come SX3 time for these guys. So we'll keep an eye on that one, because, that will be sick. That's a good point. It's a really good point. All right, let's duck down we're going to change segments here. We're going to go into the emergency department. I've got my player ready to go, so let's hit it. The emergency department. All the injuries, all the gory details, and when they'll be back on track. It's the list you really don't want to be on. You don't want to be on this list. We haven't done it for a few weeks because I sort of just wasn't, in that right spot. We had a few other big things going on, so we brought it back this weekend. We're going to kick it off with something to note, and it's something that's a little bit sad because it's a man that was probably poured his heart and soul into racing and just got the concrete floor more times than not. Austin Faulkner last week has renounced his retirement from racing. I can't say I'm surprised. His results haven't been great. Triumph is seeming to go in a little bit of a different direction in terms of management and rider signings for the following year. And Austin, with that 17 and a bit minute video that he put out about his retirement, explained a few of the things that he's been dealing with, and that left arm of his with the muscle wasting that he's got going on. Yeah, he can't hold on to a bike. There's no way, Benny, that was a safe, good idea for him to be going out there trying to compete at that level that he used to compete at.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, listening, we've all had an injury at some point. We've all broken something, and that same thing happens. Your muscle just disappears. There's nothing there. When I broke my arm, it was like a toothpick when I took the cast off and whatever else. Trying to hold onto a bike isn't, fun at a level that I can ride, let alone a level he's trying to race at, and the amount of injuries he's had. So I've sort of been saying to mates and stuff for a while that it's probably time. And I think he got lucky with the the crash in Supercross last year or the year before, where they found a thing on his brain that would have killed him.
That would have just made me stop right and there and then. Like, that was kind of crazy that he came back after that. Yeah,
I was surprised he come back from that. So I definitely, sad as it is, for him, he didn't get a championship. Pretty much won nearly that whole 250 Supercross season and did the ACL, and that was it. Sexton went on, won the championship. To not win anything, get a lot of wins, but not actually win a title, and to finish like that is probably, going to be a bummer, and he'll probably think about that for a long time. But it's definitely a good idea.
Yeah, and let's just be clear too that as much as you're saying about the muscle wasting there, everyone's sort of gone through it. They recover from that. His seems to be that it's a nerve issue that is actually paralyzed, essentially, the muscle. Like, it's not working at all. So it's just essentially shrinking back to nothing, and it's still there, but it's dead, for lack of a better term, right? He can't activate it. He showed in the video, he's trying to like put his hand in a position and bend the finger, and it just wouldn't do it. And so that's just nuts that he's trying to hold on to a 450 and, scrub, hit a rut, all these sorts of things. So, yeah, look, Austin was an impressive guy when he was fit and healthy. He just wasn't fit and healthy very often, but he's made the right call. He's got a family, young family now. Should be a part of all those things with their, moving forward and not, risking his own health by trying to continue to race at the top level. So good career, not quite what he'd hoped, but still lots of people would probably take the results that he got, over some of the things that they've done. So yeah, Austin Faulkner retired, effective immediately. Hope the rest of his career in whatever it is he chooses to do goes successfully. All right, the list from Southwick, Benny. I don't know what was going on at Southwick, but people wanted to sample the sand. Like, there was a lot going on. We've got 3 collarbones and 2 thoracic spine fractures. Like, nuts. Let's kick it off with Christian Craig. He was the red flag in that Moto 1 that was in that bit of a dip there just before the finish area. T3 spinous process fracture. Now, the spinous process is just that little wing that it's at the back of your spine on your every vertebra pretty much has one. Very low of the sacrums don't necessarily, but everything else does. But it's the one that your muscles are attached to for your lats, your rhomboids, all those sorts of areas. It's not critical in terms of structure. It'll be painful, but it will heal in about 4 weeks. So I saw somebody on there saying that on X that he was out for the season. Don't know where they're going to get that information from, but he'll probably be back in 4 weeks. Whether he tries to make the start of World Supercross, that is, I think that's the same weekend as Unadilla, if I'm not mistaken. That might be a bit tight, but he might try and do it. But he won't be back. He'll be back pretty soon. So we'll see that one. It won't be too bad, but he did look like he was in a bad way there for a moment, Benny, on the racetrack there, and caused that red flag at the end of the moto.
Yeah, it's not ideal, especially when the red flag comes out. It's never, obviously you're not there, you can't see what's going on, and they don't show it on the TV, whereas people there can see. But yeah, once the red flag comes out, it's not a good feeling. No,
especially that late in the moto too. Like, we're on pretty much the last lap at that stage. So very late for that to be called. Obviously necessary, but yeah, just unusual situation. Let's hit Joe Shimoda next. Qualifying crash. He's out of the championship, broken collarbone and concussion. I don't know what Joe did, but he must have run over a black cat or something in the week leading up to it, because that doesn't seem fair, given the fact he's just basically got the red plate. He barely even got to run it, and he's out. There's just guys in these 250 title hunts at times that you think they should win these, and for whatever reason, something happens and they just don't. And I feel like Shimoda's going to be that guy that forever should, but maybe never will. And he'll end up moving to the 450 just because he's had enough of the 250 in a year or so. But I dare say he'll be back next year on a 250 yet again.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of people thinking too, Cody Shop fixed his collarbone and raced the next week in Supercross. And they're probably thinking, why doesn't he just do that? Well, the concussion sort of, I guess, rules that out, but outdoors is a different beast too. So
yeah, you got to think like 15 minutes plus a lap in Supercross for the 250s versus 230s plus, 30 plus twos times 2. So yeah, she's a bit different, but maybe it's possible. I don't think they rush that too much, but I would expect him back maybe around Unadilla, 3-4 weeks away. Maybe he just pops back in at the last 2, just in terms of a work in the Super Motocross, because he's up there in those points. So we'll see. Nick Romano, what a get-off that Romano crash was. That was scary to watch him just fly sideways off that jump. T5-6 fracture. So he's probably lucky that he's up and about. He's probably going to be about that 6 or 8 week mark. Maybe he's back for Super Motocross. Maybe he's not. It depends on what that deal was that he's on for that fill-in ride with Pro Circuit Kawasaki. But yeah, untimely because he's been riding really well, Benny.
And probably lucky that's all it was.
Well, yeah, it was horrid, right?
It was a big get-off. So probably lucky that's all he walked away with.
Yeah, some of those videos, the different angles you kept seeing, there was 3 of them that you saw, one from the back, one from the front, and then there was one from like a 45. None of them looked good. So anyway, Nick Romano will be out for a few weeks. Deacon Deno, the Triumph rookie, collarbone fracture. So he'll be out for a few weeks as well. And then Sasha Coonan, supposedly a collarbone. Supposedly it's already been operated on. Supposedly he's going to race this weekend in the MXGPs. The dude got up and raced for, 4 laps, 5 laps, whatever it was, with a broken collarbone. I don't know how that goes, but he did. Adrenaline does amazing things. And the fact that he was able to pull away tells you that he's got so much more speed than the rest of those guys in sand. But seriously impressive for him to nut that out, Benny.
Yeah, and then you got to think as well that, if you do come off, which he has a tendency to do, and you re-break that again, like there's a few things that can happen with coming off again. So interesting point on the collarbone, right? Everyone thinks it's just a collarbone. It's fine. It is to a degree. Do you know surgeons actually don't like operating on it? And it's also a damage if you have broken it and then you did, like you said, fall off again. There is actually an artery that runs just underneath it that is easily severed by a broken collarbone if a second incident occurs or if they aren't very, very careful when they're doing surgery. So hence the surgeons don't like operating on it. So there is a serious potential for, internal bleeding if that is the case. And even if it's broken in the wrong spot and it pushes down to puncture the top of the lung as well. So serious business there. Yeah, and they're not fun at all.
No, my step still sucks, so,
Yeah, anytime you put a bag on your back or anything like that, seatbelt even sometimes, and it rubs on it, it just, they're not fun. So, props to him for finishing those 4 laps because, I wasn't moving a muscle when I broke mine. That's for sure.
Well, he's earned some fans, I'd say, from that for sure. So, look, that's, very cool that he was able to do it. So, all right, that is the emergency department for this week. So, updating you all on the injuries in the sport, which is cool. Let's hit Dave's diatribe next, Benny.
This is Dave's diatribe. What's a diatribe? A diatribe is a forceful and bitter attack against someone or something. So keep your head down. You might be next.
You could be next, that is for sure. Now, this one is brought to you by Barkbuster handguards because you're going to need to deflect all this content that comes at you for the roost and the trees when you ride. You need to use those Barkbuster handguards, but here they'll help you as well deflect the BS that's going to fly out of us right now. Benny, I've been watching some stuff. Now, this is probably a bit of a geographical location thing with ads for me being a Newcastle-based person, but recently with things between my YouTube ads, between the videos I'm watching, the ads that pop up, there's been an Australian Supercross one popping up to spruik the Newcastle around, which is cool. But it kicks off and it goes, Dean Wilson, Hayden Melross, and it's going through a couple of riders to try and say that you'll see these guys. And one of them is Aaron Tanti, except there's a problem. I don't know who they got to do the voiceover for this, but Aaron Tanti is not how you say Tanti. So I don't know who got this brief or if they even gave them anything other than a piece of paper and said, read this, but they really need to work on their pronunciation of Tanti. It's driving me nuts, Benny.
Well, when you told me this off air before, I said to you, is it a South Australian? Because they like to say their words with A in it like that.
Maybe we should have asked Elijah if he was on. We could have got him, but he's not available this week. So, anyway.
I've got a few mates from South Australia, and every time it's an A, it's, chance, or it's not chance. It's, it's always the art. So maybe it's the SA bloke, who knows? Maybe it's just for effect, who knows? But I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on it. But yeah, it doesn't sound ideal.
Well, if anyone's listening, if you see it, maybe they're using a different version of it for whichever you're closest to, for the cities of the Supercross series. But if you hear them say Arantanti, please let me know. I want to know all about it. So, because I think it's ridiculous. But anyway. Now, you didn't have one this week, Ben. You already sort of dobbed yourself in for the injury bit in the in Joe Shimoda and the Supercross for Australian side of things, but nothing else has got you going this week?
No, nothing else. I will mention, though, that Charlie Cannon and Lala Turner crash.
Oh, yeah.
At Trogon was something else. That was...
I forgot to mention the women's down there, actually. That was some good racing. But, yeah, that crash caught my eye massively, and I forgot. I didn't even write in my notes, to be honest. I completely spaced on it. Apologies, ladies. Geez, it was good, bud.
Yeah, like the racing was good, and it wasn't, it wasn't intentional, but it was just they came together. But, yeah, it was a big one.
Did you like the I think it was on the Pulp MX review pod, they were talking about the fact that Jake Cannon and Lux Turner were going at it in Southwick, and then they were trying to remember if Charlie was actually dating Lux and if that was still current, and then realised that Charlie and Lala had just smashed each other on the same weekend. And yeah, just that was kind of comical that they didn't know what was going on, but they were trying to work it out live on the show.
Yeah, I haven't got that far into it yet, so that'll be, I'll finish listening to that tomorrow, and it'll probably come up.
Yeah, no,
but it is it's an interesting thing that you're like dating your rival's brother. That'll be an interesting household sort of,
Well, I wonder if they get to ever sit down, all of them in the one room, because they're always in different parts of the world, it seems. But if they all sat down for like Christmas dinner, that'd be an interesting conversation, I reckon.
Yeah, although you do see on both of their Instagram stories and stuff, they're always together. It's like they're the best of friends outside racing anyway. So probably, the crash, they'd probably go back and like, what is that? What was that? But I think outside of it, they're probably friends, and it's not, especially with Lala, she's winning everything, so she's probably not too phased.
She's anyway. Okay with it, yeah, as long as she's still got the one in front of her name. So yeah. Oh, geez. Anyway, all right. So that was interesting to bring up. Thank you for reminding me of that one. I missed that one in my notes. Let's hit a quick product inspection before we get to our interview with Eddie Karlsson. This week, 321 Motorsports gave us some Enduro engineering radiator guards for the WR. We had a need for them. I've always wanted them on the bike, but we finally got some. Enduro Engineering is an American brand that does some very good protection parts, particularly their radiator guards. I've had them on a few bikes previously. My last Sherco 300 two-stroke had them on it. I had them with the bash plates on my KTMs for years. But we needed some radiator guards. 321 Motorsports in Australia is the importer. Very simple website to order from. You can get them, your Enduro Engineering guards, for pretty much any bike in the off-road scene. So check them out. But they are very useful to protect those radiators and to let them breathe better throughout all situations. So no grass clumps into those radiator louvers anymore for me. Just hits the guard, drops straight through. Perfect.
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's say goodbye to you, Benny. Is there anything you need to add here before we go? Because we're going to go into our pre-recorded interview.
A little bit disappointed.
Oh, hold on. Here we go.
I'm a little bit disappointed you're not coming to visit me this weekend and do the New South Wales off-road titles here, but that's all right. I'll let it slide.
When my kids actually want to ride, and the four of us can ride, there ain't many events that cater for their size bikes and skill levels at the moment, and Amcross fits all of that for all of us. And it's also much closer than Griffith is from my house this weekend. And I don't know if you noticed, but a few other people have thought so as well, because the entry list unfortunately isn't that big for this round down there at Griffith for the state titles for New South Wales off-road.
Yeah, well, I was having a look today. I was actually trying to find a map and to see. I know they've had an enduro out there before, so I actually thought it was at Hillston, but I was wrong. It's actually closer.
Okay.
But they've had one out there before, but I think it's in a different spot this time. And I actually had some mates that went and did it, but climbing up rock faces and stuff like that is just ridiculous.
Yeah, but that was more the hard enduro stuff.
That was for hard enduro. So I think, this would be a little bit different. But there wasn't a lot of names on the entry list. So
no,
I don't blame them. And for you as well, like I said, we had a joke the other day. I think you'd been home one weekend in about 6, so that's fair enough too.
Yeah, look, we've got this one at Amcross this weekend, which we're staying with some mates to do, which I appreciate the LeConte family. Thank you for that. But yeah, that one was just too far, too much, and only 2 of us would be able to race it. The kids aren't. My daughter's not up to that yet, and she would be able to, but my son is only just on the 65, which is a class that he could start to run, but he's only just literally started riding it, so again, not up to it. It's on the list for maybe next year to do some more of those with the kids, but we'll have to see if their skill level gets to that point or not. But the Amcross fits right in the perfect window for them, so we're out doing that. So
yeah, and we definitely need to work on those starts. Lincoln, Penny, definitely need some... definitely need some start practice.
For reference, check out an upcoming video that I'll put out in the YouTube channel. There might be a feature on one of their starts in one of those. So just a hint, go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. There'll be a Yamaha video popping out shortly, talking maybe just about that. Actually, with potential handguards, Barkbuster handguards. So, yes, it'll fit just nicely in there, and you'll see what I mean when you see this video. It's not my proudest dad moment, so thought I taught him better.
Yeah, no, that's all right. It is a good one. He's only learning.
Yeah, he definitely is. So, anyway. All right, we wrap it up there for you, mate.
Yeah, all good.
All right, jump out for us. We'll pop this over into my other screen. Thanks for Benny for being a part of it tonight again. Let's get into our video introduction here, our pre-recorded interview with Eddie Karlsson. So we're just going to shut a couple of things here to make this a bit quicker and make it easier to play. And we can get our video up. And we'll get that one ready to go. So, video with Eddie Karlsson from Stark Future. All right, joining us on the AlwaysMoto show this week. Now, we're pre-recording this one because of the time differences, and it's okay because he's on the other side of the world. I'll let him introduce where he's from, but we've got the man from Stark Future who's been doing a lot of hard enduro stuff in recent time on the Stark Varg and just showing the capabilities of that machine. And we've talked about it here on the show before plenty of times because we had one earlier in the year, and I got a real up close and personal with it and realized it's more capable than you think. But this man got 9th in Erzberg. It's Eddie Karlsson. Welcome to the show, Eddie.
Cheers. Thanks. Happy to be here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on, mate. Like we were talking about before we hit record, we've been trying to work this out for a little while now. We're trying to do a little couple of Stark-related features on the show. Ben from Stark Future reached out. Obviously, know Ben from when I was over there in Spain when they did the launch. And you're the first man in the run, but we've taken a little while to get here.
Yeah. I have been busy those couple of weeks, so
yeah.
Now we have some time. Yeah.
Now, we were saying that you've been at Erzberg, which was Austria. You've been at Silver Kings, which is an American race, all hard enduros. And then you're back home and you're in Sweden now. So you're just literally world traveling, mate.
Yeah. I love my job. It's super cool.
You'd have to, right? Like the travel that goes into this is insane at times, but you do get to go to these really crazy and unique events.
Yeah. Like, it's plenty of races I have not made before. Like, I have been private here before, and we went out for some crazy events, and it's super cool to see all that kind of races around the globe.
Let's talk about the Erzberg one first, because obviously that's the one that probably stands out most recently, particularly from the Stark Future side of things. Obviously, you guys went there. You had a big crew of guys going out there this time. You had a couple of team riders. I'll get to this one in a second, but even the racing director, Seb Tortelli, had a crack at some of this as well, so that was kind of cool. But the main show, the main Erzberg Rodeo, You managed to get this Starkvarg through the entire 27 checkpoints, got it to the finish line, 9th outright, first electric bike finisher in its history, I understand. That's got to be a nice little check mark against your name to say that was me, that I did that, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm super proud of that final result. Like what happened in the beginning, I don't know if you heard about it, but I get hit by a rock in the beginning of the race and I lose my rear brake. So
I did hear
racing
that.
so I was racing the whole race without rear brake on my hand. Like it's basically what's so good with the start bike. You have the brakes on the hands.
Yeah.
And 30 seconds into the race, I don't have any rear brakes. So I was about to give up like, okay, I have the paddock on my left. Should I turn off and quit the race 30 seconds in? But in the end, I was like, okay, I try to push and I know what the bike can do. Like you can put more engine brake and all that kind of thing. So I try to push my best and see what I could get, and I make some good passes on other riders I was not expecting. So I was like, okay, that's maybe possible without the brake.
So did it just break the lever off? Is that what happened, or you hit the actual reservoir and smashed it?
I get one rock hit on the cable.
Oh,
so
yep.
It was like the oil leaking out direct.
Yeah, no, okay,
So,
no good. Yep. But
Yeah,
I did hear that story that you adjusted your regen to basically engine brake it down the hills, which I gather you just did on the fly on the dashboard of the Varg on the Arkenstone phone, yeah?
Yeah. So basically, when we come to the first steep downhill, I stop there and do it on the dashboard, and I lose some positions because the other riders was coming in hot. Like everyone is pumped for that race. So I was standing there, take my time, and like try to figure it out how to do it on those steep downhills. And it's helping a lot to put more engine brake, but it's not enough for those steep hills. So
Was it a bit hairy the first time you tried it then?
Yeah, it was like I had a couple of good crashes downhills. Like
I bet you did.
I have never made that kind of crashes before. Like went over the handlebar, hitting some trees, hitting like try to break down all what's possible. So
yeah. Geez, it's one thing to go downhill without a rear brake. It's another to do them at Erzberg where they're pretty much vertical and there's rocks and trees and everything to hit, and you're in a race situation with no, it's not like you're trying to do it gently and slowly. You're trying to get there as quick as you can. So crazy situation, but you obviously salvaged it really well. Talk about riding that event. Like it's an extreme event. It's got some pretty unique features to it in terms of some of the transition areas in the mine cuts, but also then, was it Carl's Diner, the big ass rocks that you just literally pick your way through, and just some insane sections, right? Like, but the Varg, it did it all. Obviously, it made it through to the end. Was it easier, harder on the Varg in those sections and doing those events?
To be fair, like, for me, it's hard to say because it was back in 2018. I was there for the first time.
Okay.
And ever since then, I have been never doing that race again because I was too slow at that moment. I come from the background as a trials rider.
Yep.
So I come to that race, one of my first race, trying it out, and I was like in the third row of the starting grid. So I was super slow in the prologue, and I find out if I'm gonna be a hard enduro rider, I need to get my speed. So like I don't have many experience of riding the combustion bike in the mine.
Yeah.
But like for sure, like we have some good, like especially in the uphills, like when you can put more horsepower and you can keep the bike doing the work. So there is for sure some good stuff and some more difficult stuff with the bike. That's for sure.
One thing I noticed when you're going up a hill on a Stark, when you would make a mistake on a gas bike, and you sort of lose balance and lose your momentum, you have to sort of, smash a couple of gears down, give it some clutch to sort of bring the motor back up and get going again. But when you make a mistake on the start, you literally don't have to do anything. You just pull more throttle back on and it's instant and you continue going. So that point where you would almost lose balance and potentially not make the top of the hill because you had to go down gears and everything on a gas bike isn't there on the Varg, right? Like it's just so quick to make a recovery from a little mistake.
Yeah, that's right. You're always on the right gear in every situation. So that's just a super good thing. Like you said, like in the hills, you can like spin the wheel like in 140 in the first gear. And that's super good for those things. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you mentioned too, and I'm going to bring it up right here because you said about your speed at the original, the first 2018 prologue you did there, and you had to find some of that speed. I gather you found some, but you haven't maybe found enough because I think Seb Tortelli beat you in the prologue this year, mate. What's going on? The boss has still got it.
He still got it. I don't know. Like I think it's like riding a bicycle. Once you have learned how to ride it, he have been on the top for so many years. He's like, I have been training with him together in the motocross track, and I know his speed. He's like incredible fast. So
yeah, he definitely hasn't lost it, right? And obviously, I would say he's probably got a little advantage on you too. One, in the sense that he was a motocross world champ, but the sense that he is probably the man with the most experience on a Stark Varg from the testing aspect from the longest time, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he's like, as I said, we have been on the motocross track together to catch up my speed a bit. And like when I block him on the inside, I'm pretty sure he cannot like pass me, but he like just overtake me on the outside, like easy. So he's so fast. Like, man.
He's not going to get up that easy. But yeah, he's obviously still got. He won that other hill climb race on. I can't remember what they called that one on the Saturday or whatever. So, and I think obviously that suited him with the gate start too. That kind of helped the situation for him. And I think I caught in the Stark Files video that he was maybe watching the gate guy pull the lever, so he had a little sneaky trick there too.
He was, And he explained to me he was on the gate closest to the gate starter, but he jumped one because then he could see it easier. So he's on the second one, and you can see it in the video. He's like, look, that's...
Yeah, just all mind games. He's got it all figured out. The wily old veteran, right?
Yeah, he know how to do that.
Definitely. That's funny. So but no, look, your speed's obviously come around. Obviously your trials background, you see that in a lot of your, your videos and your riding skills when you're out on track. You've got insane skills to pick the bike through some of these things. That stuff's, obviously transferred super well. But I guess in terms of that Erzberg side of things, for the people that didn't get to see it or hear the exact how the bike went through, everyone asks obviously battery and duration. How did you guys manage that? Did you have to ride differently? Did you change it at certain? Because I think I saw that they made like interval points that you could do that for the event. But did you actually do anything with that in terms of the battery switches over, or what did you do?
No, actually, we was there on the point the weekend before to figure it out how far it was, and like everything is new, like the bike and everything in this world. Like we need to figure it out how to make all the races, and Erzberg was one where we went the weekend before, and we ride the beginning of the course more or less. We are not available to ride all, but we ride a bit of it, and then we see how the battery takes the steep uphills and all this. And we stop in the where they put the fuel stop for the gas bikes, and we swap the battery one time. But when I arrived there, we was passing the Karlsson diner lights. And it doesn't spend so much battery. So I think I was about in 40% of battery when we make the swap. So it was like, it was fine. Like it was not that bad. We have been on other races. There is like Lagares in Portugal, where I arrived to the battery swap with 0%. Like
cutting it fine.
Yeah. So yeah, we figured it out before, like we can do it, and the only issue could be like if the course is too gnarly and you need to make the hills like couple of times,
Yep.
then you drain out the battery and you have no idea how far it's gonna be.
Sure.
Yeah, but it was fine. Like Erzberg was really into it, and like it was not too hard for the battery this time.
Do you still at your level, like obviously when you see, I get to see it at a much lower level at club events and stuff, because some of my mates have bought them after having experienced it when I had one earlier this year, and they go through that whole bit with other riders going, oh, it's an electric bike, you won't make it, you know, the battery's going to run out.
Yeah.
Do people like fans and stuff still come up to you guys and be like, oh, you're not going to make it, that's silly electric bike, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously you probably get a nice little grin when you get to the end and be like, hey, look, you know, it's right here, we made it, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It had been a crazy journey. I mean, in the beginning, it was like I get so many hates, you know, like it was like, yeah, you know, all about that gay bikes and whatever they call it. And like, but I was like enjoying that. And nowadays, when someone coming up to me, like they don't know what to say really. So we have made so many improvements and we have shown them we can make the races. So nobody is really saying about something about it.
Yeah, I think obviously the more that people are seeing it and not seeing it fail, the comments are starting to go the other way. It's still the ignorant ones that don't understand, right? But more people are realizing that these things are super capable, which is really good. Now you mentioned there too, like, you know, way back when you first started, you've been with Stark now for, was it 4 years? 2022, I think I saw.
No, yeah, like it was in the beginning of, so 3 years now.
3 years.
Like,
okay. Yeah.
3 years I've been riding.
So from in that time, obviously you probably would have started on what their motocross version. You're now on to the EX version, I assume, for the headlight, taillight, for all these different events that you've got to do. What, other than that MX to EX change, what's something that you've seen that's been like the biggest change for you with the brand as you've been a part of it now?
Like I said, from the beginning, it was so many hates and nobody was really believing in this, like from outside, but everyone in Stark, in the factory, all the team and everyone was believing it so hard. So like, it's so cool how it have been from that side, like where it was like basically a prototype, like to where it's now. Like the battery have been so much better. In the beginning, it was like draining out really quick.
Okay.
And now it's like we have a long range. So, I mean, I'm so like curious to see what's next. I mean, like it's still so new brand and like it's so cool to be a part of whatever happening, you know, around.
Yeah, the guys and girls there at Stark Future in Spain, like the little interactions I had with them, they were super passionate. They weren't worried about what other people were saying, and they just have a path that they're going down and trying to make this thing just ridiculously impressive in all aspects, and just covering things that other brands could do but aren't doing, you know, and just making it so precision and perfect. And yeah, it's impressive what they're doing, but yeah, to see what you're doing on it at all these different events, like we were talking before, you know, the Largueras, you've done this Silver Kings in America recently as well. You're putting the bike through some pretty extreme situations and different variances for each race. Like that Largueras one, I personally like because of that prologue situation that they do through the town, and literally there's people standing within meters. I think you almost hit a couple of handlebars into their chests as you're going past. They're that close, right? It's the bikes are doing some cool stuff in different areas around the world.
Yeah, that's right. Like I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. Like it's like it's a cool way to explore and see.
that Lagars one for you, just on the event itself, like, is that a highlight for you, or what events do you actually prefer to go and do in this crazy calendar that they've got you running around doing?
No, I mean, Erzberg was one of the main things I always have wanted to make.
Sure.
So it was like, I was so like ready for that race. And then things happen on the way, like it's always do.
Yeah.
But I mean, Romania's last year when we made the silver class,
Yep.
that was pretty big for me because I have never been to Romania's before as well.
Yep.
So it was, I should say that was the biggest one I have ever like experienced. Like so many crazy moments from that race. We was out there for 4 days in the forest, and so many things goes wrong and so many good things goes good. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's cool to see, like, even if I have not make all those kind of races before, I have no experience of all of them, like we really figure it out how to make them. Like so far we have not like quit any race because of the bike.
And that's super impressive, right?
Yeah, it is. Like, I mean, it's always some issues with a normal combustion bike or whatever. Like you find some small mistakes or whatever, but so far we have not get any big issues. So
yeah, no, that's really impressive considering where you're going and the fact that you're potentially throwing the bike up or down certain rock faces and whatnot, like that, for it to survive and then still get it done. Yeah, that's really cool. Is there anything coming up or on the bucket list that you want to take a Starkvag to?
I want to make more races in US.
Okay.
So what I prefer to race is like the enduro cross.
Yep.
So I really want to come over to US more and ride their series and also more of those events. Like I saw the one from Hawaii. It was pretty cool race.
Yeah.
So I would like to go to those races. Like,
and how open are Anton and Ben and all those guys and Seb to doing those things? I gather they're pretty much, if they can, they're getting things there, right?
Yeah, of course. They are really into it. Like the only problem we have now is like we need some kind of sound because AMA in US wants the bike to make a bit more noisy. I
have seen that, and it's weird, but I get it. But like it's almost like you're gonna run around with a little push bike bell going ding 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 ding. Like
yeah, and I get it too because now when I have my teammate Toby Martin, when he comes up behind, you never know he's there. So I can imagine the other riders when I making the same on them, like making a pass or whatever, they must be like, they don't know you're there. So.
It is a bit weird being on both sides of that. Like I went past a mate the other day at an event who was on one, and I just went as I went past, and you could see him like flinch, because he could hear it all. And then on the other side of that, when they're coming to pass you, and you think there's nothing there, and you go to tip in, and then all of a sudden out of the corner of your eye there's a bike, and you're like, oh. Yeah. Okay. Where did that come from? But I don't know about the noise, whether you'd even still recognize that it's something, moving past you.
And for sure it's something new, like everyone gonna find out in the future. Like everyone is gonna learn this system. Like, so, but I understand some noise in the beginning and it will be fine.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll have to add to your list. I know we've got I've done it previously. I haven't done it I only did it the one time, but we've got an event, Wildwood down in Victoria in Melbourne, bottom of Australia. It's an extreme event. And I think it's been added to the second tier of the FIM stuff for hard enduro. So maybe you guys will have to add that to the list at some point, and you can make a trip down under, mate.
Yeah, that should be cool.
Yeah.
That should be really cool. I have been to Australia once with the trials.
Yeah, right.
making a race. Yeah, I would like to come back.
Okay. Well,
Australia,
hopefully, when did you come? What time of year? Was it winter or summer?
no, it was winter time.
Oh, you
So
missed
it
out
was not,
then. Yeah.
yeah.
Wildwood's in October, November usually, so it's getting to that point where it's warming up, so you can at least potentially go to the beach and do those cool things that Australians should be enjoying when you're here, right? So that'd be one to just push it to Anton and just say, hey mate, just this one, Wildwood, Victoria.
Yeah, we have
So
to make that.
yeah. I'm sure he'd want to come too, just to have a hangout. So he's that way inclined.
Yeah.
So let's talk about bike and riding style too. One thing that stands out for these things is this, like you already mentioned about the handbrake that you had a little issue with when it broke at Erzberg, but the handbrake on the bars is a great feature, but it means there's no clutch. Now, for a lot of trail riding and hard enduro riding styles, everyone relies on that to pop the front, right? To get it onto a log, to get it onto a tire, even just to get over some other obstacle out there to help them transition up. They're using it. How have you managed to, obviously now you probably don't even remember doing it with a clutch. It's been so long, but is it difficult for you? Is there anything you changed body-wise, technique-wise to make it happen? Or do you just pull throttle on?
Well, sure. Like from the beginning when I started riding this bike, they were sending me one bike with a brake on the hand. And I was like, this is wrong. I need a foot brake.
Yep.
But they said, like, Morgan from start, he'd tell me, like, yeah, I'm going to send a foot brake to you, like, just wait. So I was waiting 2 weeks.
Yep.
But at that time, I was riding the bike so much. And then I was figured out, like, this could be really useful to ride with the hands instead, because you can stay on the same position with the foot on both sides.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it doesn't matter in the corners if you're out with the left or right foot. So, like, I find it really useful. And in the beginning, it was really hard to adapt to making some, like, steps or whatever to pop the wheel, like you said.
Yeah.
And but I figured it out, like, after, because I have no one to watch or no one to really
Yeah, you're all by yourself trying to work this out, yeah? in a paddock, probably with a rock,
Yeah, that's right. So I was, like, figuring out, like, I can preload the bike with the rear brake. So I was like, preload it and then do the opposite to a clutch. So I break it down and then I leave the brake and the throttle at the same time, like, wow.
Yep.
So I get that little pop, but, like, it's still not like a clutch.
Yeah.
But it's enough for, like, the trials riding or what we're doing. Like, the level have not been like that trials, so you really need it, and you find it out more. Like, for example, in Erzberg now, I lose the brake also. So I didn't have the clutch or the brake, so, and I still make it to the end. So
obviously you figured it out, right? Like, how did you do it then? I gather you're using a lot of legs to push down and, like, pop the bike up at that point.
Yeah. And all about the speed. Like, if you have enough with speed, you make all of this kind of things.
Yeah.
So if you can carry the momentum, you're fine. Like, but all to adapt in one race. I mean,
Yeah. Really hard job on the brain. Like, I've got to survive the downhills. I'm probably knocking myself senseless as I'm coming off. And then I've got to figure out how to pop it and get up the hills without my normal anchor point to get the movement going. Yeah.
No, so I mean, no, it's like, it's really useful to have the rear brake on the hand, like, especially when you also make, like, popping some wheelies, you can stay, like, really steep.
Yeah.
Like, in the angle of the bike, like, when you hit things, you can stay in a different angle, because when you have the foot brake, you need to, like, really lean forward, and your foot is not that flexible. So so I mean, it had been a time where I really missing some old things, but you find the good things, like, and I think, like, the future kids that learning to ride this system from beginning, they will be, like, so, like, dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, they will figure it out, and then they will just send it. So
Yeah, I do hope that they, you know, obviously not just from Stark's point of view, but like there's other brands in the kids world that are doing these electric bikes as well. Stark will get there one day with those things too, but those kids that have started on that and carry all the way through, they could be really different in technique by the time they get to a full size bike. So it will be interesting another 5-ish years to see where some of these kids get to that have grown up on it, because they will be dangerous, as you put it.
Yeah.
So that handbrake, is that the best feature of this bike, or is there something else in the time that you've been on there that you're like, geez, I really wish I had that beforehand? Like, you know, what else is there about this bike that you wish that was available sooner?
I mean, like we said in the beginning, like you're always in the right gear. I mean, it's such a cool thing. Like you can climb one long steep hill climb, and then you can have the step in the end, and you are on the right gear. It doesn't matter what. Like, I mean, out from a corner or whatever, you're entering with one speed, and you can go out with another speed. Like the gearing is one thing, and the rear brake is another one, and then that you can adjust the power.
Yeah.
Like those three things is like the main things, I should say. Like it's the best thing with the bike, and what you would love to have on the combustion bike. So, and you can basically don't get it. So
Yeah. So
yeah, back in the days it was some old automatic, right? It was some motocross with automatic, so they have tried it out.
Yeah, they have tried it, but it didn't last and didn't work for whatever reason on those things. So it faded out. But all right, so then I'm going to ask you, because I'm a much lower level rider, and most people listening to this are probably much lower level rider than you are in terms of the skill to get up a hill, right? The crawl features on this bike, the forward and the reverse, do you use them?
Yeah, that was one thing in Erzberg also. I was figuring it out like in the beginning also. I have the crawl mode, and I can use that for the steepest ones where I'm don't knowing how to handle the steepness. But so I was basically putting the crawl mode reverse.
Yeah.
So the back wheel was digging down.
Yeah.
Like for like spinning backwards, so I break it down a bit.
As you're going down the hill?
I'm going down the hill with reverse.
That's ingenious. Not how I thought you'd be using it, but that's genius.
Yeah. So I was using it for that reason. And of course, when you come in a bad situation where you need to roll back, I'm using the reverse also. Like it's so handled. So why not? Like using it for those small things.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that. I love the reverse from the fact that I could just put a bike in a trailer backwards and not kill myself at the end of the day. But there are times that on a trail that you would get to a point and you're like, no, I don't want to go that way, and just back it up. But yeah, you've used it in in other ways that I hadn't even thought of yet. And that's why you ask these questions, right? Somebody's going to be sitting here listening to this going, oh yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
definitely.
Figuring
out during a race, it was like
that would have been hard to come up with, mate. But I'm impressed you did. So
yeah.
All right, I'm going to finish off. I've got a couple of quick questions for you. So just a sort of a this or a that, right? And maybe we'll add on one of them because I'm curious if it's not what you do. But let's go with hardest obstacle at Erzberg. What was it?
Oh, it was the Segway. The Segway was the hardest for me. It was almost in the end. Like I think it was the fourth last checkpoint or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was struggling so much just because I don't have any brake. So I couldn't pull the front wheel down.
Yep.
That was, so I was like, at that point I was like, I'm never going to make this hill because it was so steep.
Okay.
And it was no running. So you have no like, you need
no chance.
Power yeah. So basically when I was like, okay, I was giving up, then I make it. I was like, Yeah.
Shocked yourself at the top. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I made it. So I was like, you know those freestyle things like hitting the front fender, like
Yeah.
for get the front wheel down. So yeah.
Hey, you got it there. Right. All good.
Yeah.
All right.
So that was the
60.
hardest one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right. 60 or 80 horsepower.
60.
What do you actually run? Do you have a different map when you're at like an Erzberg and it's lower, or do you just keep it at the max?
No, we have the option like everyone have, like, so you can ride with 5 different maps.
Yep.
And I like to riding really low in horsepower because to finding the traction, because
Sure.
when you putting more horsepower, it's impossible to find the traction. I mean, the bike is so strong and it's
Yeah.
just ripping those rocks.
Yeah.
So I riding like 50, like I think the map 5 I had on 55, 56 horsepower
Okay.
during the race. So I was using that for the steep uphills.
Yep.
The rest of the time I was on 45 to 30.
Wow.
Like
Okay.
30 horsepower. So
See, this
top
is
liner I was riding 30 horsepower, I think.
See, this is the thing that lots of people probably don't realize is that you can literally flip it over as you're going and change it for what's needed there and then. Whereas on a gas bike, you maybe got 2 maps and that's it.
Yeah.
This one, you've got 5 different options at your fingertips, and you can even stop and do it. Like you said, you stopped and adjusted something for the regen and that to make it work. So yeah, that's kind of cool. But yeah, all right. So 60 is the go.
Yeah.
Do you prefer trials or hard enduro or endurocross? And I gather the answer is endurocross from what you said before.
Yeah, endurocross is my favorite so far. Like, I have been into trials for so many years before.
Yep.
So I mean the race situation when it's the gate drop and all this is like so cool. Like it's a different kind of riding like from I used to do before. Like the hard enduro stuff and trialsy things, like it's there, like
Yeah.
even if you are staying out for many hours, you're using your technique like for those things.
Still, yeah.
Super enduro is something like you're like in close contact and you try to pass other riders and it's so intense and like I don't know, like I feel more like the rush in the body like when you make those races. Yeah.
I personally like those. We don't have many of them anymore in Australia, but when we did have some, they're super intense. They sort of give you that supercross vibe because people are there watching, and like we had a few under lights and stuff, and it just gives you a different sensation, and they're cool. So yeah, I'm not surprised that you found that and enjoy that. And yeah, like the super enduro ones that I've seen you guys do in the World Series, they're in cool venues. You've got cool tracks. Yeah, I'm not surprised you like those ones. So yeah, it's very, very easy to like those event types.
Yeah.
All right. Seeing as the Varg can be ridden pretty much anywhere because they're quiet and nobody will notice, what's the weirdest place you've ridden one so far? Without getting yourself in trouble.
Yeah, without getting in trouble. Actually, I have a funny story about that because we was riding in a really cool place close to Barcelona where the factory is.
Yep.
And I was casing by 5 police cars and a chopper and like...
did you say a chopper?
Yeah, chopper also. They was out for like, and like motorbikes as well. Like, it was not a good moment, like, but...
I gather they didn't catch you?
No, they didn't. I was out there for like 5 hours. Waiting for the darkness, like... No, it was not a good moment. Yeah, well, afterwards it was good, but at that moment, I think I had more adrenaline than I have in a race.
I bet you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, was anybody with you or were you by yourself at this point?
Yeah, no. We was out for making some video shoots.
Okay.
And we go to those cool places. And when we go from that part where we took the photos and everything, we went on the road. And then we popped some wheelies and this, and then we meet one police car.
Yep.
And then the other riders was like, it was one other Swedish rider from a Supermoto, like
Okay.
it's like a stunt rider, and he say like he have been casing by the police before, so I was like, I follow him, like it should be safe.
Bad
But he
influence.
go wide open. Yeah, he go wide open on the asphalt, and I have no chance to follow him with my enduro tires. So
Yeah.
I was like, why I follow him? I go up in the forest, and that should I don't do, because the police wanted to catch me then more than the other riders on the road. So, yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, yeah, obviously, I don't know if I'm putting this one out there, but if you get a call from the Barcelona police or whatever, I blame yourself. You put it out there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So, no, look, that's awesome. But yeah, you can take these things pretty much anywhere. All right, mate.
Yeah.
Look, this has been very entertaining from my side of things. I appreciate you coming on. Where are you going to be riding next?
So next race gonna be here, the World Championship in Sweden.
Oh, cool.
In end of August, and the weekend after that is Tennessee. And
Back on the plane.
That is Italy. Yeah, back in Italy. So it's gonna be intense.
Yeah.
Summer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with those upcoming events, mate. Keep that electric bike power going as hard as it possibly can for as long as it possibly can. And yeah, appreciate you being on the AlwaysMoto show.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers for having me.
All right, that's Eddie Karlsson there from Stark Future on the AlwaysMoto show. How good was that story? Apologies for the little bit of audio being low there on the Eddie side of things. No matter what I did there, his phone and his distance from it or whatever is, maybe the speaker point was a bit muffled for him to pick it up. We couldn't adjust it too much, so you'll just have to stick the audio a bit further in the ears for that one, and take it so you can hear that. But yeah, the story at the end, killer. Getting chased by the coppers. How ingenious was the reverse crawl mode but that he used to go down the hill at Erzberg when he had no rear brake? The features on that VARG are just nuts. Until you've tried it, you don't know what you're missing out on. Trust me, they are seriously impressive. We're hopefully going to have a few more different people on from Stark Future over the next couple of months. We've got a little thing with them that we're trying to set up to do a few different pieces to try and expose what Stark Future and the people that have ridden them in what different situations to more people out there. So hopefully you can check those out over the next few times that they pop up. We'll cut a few more of those pieces out and try and adjust the audio further in some short segments as well. So we'll check those out. All right, let's get to the upcoming events as we close out the show here. So upcoming events is brought to you by Fun and Web Filters, because you will need a fresh air filter in your bike for these events, unless you're riding a Stark Future, that is, of course. But every other bike needs a filter. Get a Fun and Web in your bike. AMA this weekend is Millville, round 7 on July 18th. That's this Saturday. Sunday Australian time, obviously. MXGP is running this weekend as well. I can't remember where that one was. Sorry, I've just missed that one up. I didn't put that on my list. Where are they at for this one? July 19th. Oh, it's a TBA. That's why I haven't got it listed. But there is an event there, and I haven't got it on the calendar that I've printed out originally. New South Wales Off-Road in Griffith this weekend, as we mentioned with Benny, down in his hometown area there. Amcross at Appin this weekend as well, for anyone in the New South Wales side of things. I'll be there. Check it out. AusProMX isn't back on for a couple of weeks now. It is next round will be round 7 at Conondale on July 26th, and it'll be followed the week after on August 2nd at QMP, and that'll be the final round of our championship. So 1 week after another will be 7 and 8. So it'll be a big finish to our ProMX season there. Australian Enduro Championship will be in Kempsey, which will be Macleay Valley. It will be August 8 and 9. And that's the next couple of events we've got listed here for the upcoming events, thanks to Funnel Web Filters. All right, that's it for this show. Thank you for everybody out there for watching. Appreciate, or listening, guys and girls. If you're listening on your podcast later on, appreciate it. But come and check out the live show. We're doing some good stuff here. We want to get you people involved with it, so make sure you're getting in the chat, asking some questions as the show's going on, correcting us if we're getting something wrong. So make sure you come and find the live show. It's usually Tuesday nights, usually about that 7:30, 7:45 kickoff point. New South Wales time for anybody listening. That's New South Wales, Australia. So check it out. Come and join the live show. It's over on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe there as well. Join the community while you're there. Don't forget to order a t-shirt, the $25 plus postage and handling. Info@AlwaysMoto.com will get you one of those. But that's it. Written articles and video links over on fullnoise.com.au. Don't forget Full Noise. They've got all the updates written that you can read for all your updates for events, full breakdowns. Check out fullnoise.com.au. Very informative website. We put our stuff up on over there as well. You'll see my smiling face in pictures plenty of times. So go and check it out. But that's it for another show. Thanks to Technic Motorsport, Duramoose, Yamaha Motor Australia, Barkbuster Handguards, Funnelweb Filters, Pivot Pegs, and Tech 167 3D Printing for the show support. Thanks to the wife and kids for letting me get this done. And we'll see you at the track.